Not my podcast. I don't give a fuck.
Selfish fucker.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's staying.
I'm all right, Jack.
Oh, keep it. That's
I'm
why
all right,
I popped
yeah.
it off.
Do you know what? I had a thing where I was going to go, yeah, and so apparently that's how you find out that pigs don't get hemorrhoids. You've just blown that out of the water. Your one's much better. Anyway, right, welcome. Well, hang on, let me start again. I'll cut that bit. Welcome to the Saints.
Why? You're not going to cut the rest of it?
Oh, you...
Let's just
Welcome
this whole thing. Welcome to the Saints.
C-bomb.
I'm Eric.
C-bomb at the beginning. Yeah, go on, Dan. Get it out. Just get it out.
No, that's it. I think that's perfect. That will do. I'm delighted. We're delighted to welcome one of our absolute favourite, genuinely one of our most favourite people in the world onto the podcast today. Our really, really good friend, Erik Jaybird of Chocobo Chasers podcast. Erik, how the fuck are you, mate?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Thank you guys for having me. I've been waiting for this since y'all have announced the podcast. I've been waiting on the guest spot. It only took 2 years, 2.5 years, however long it's been.
We've been a bit shit the last 12 months. I'm not gonna lie.
We've been very dark.
It's all good.
All good. It's lovely
here
to have you on, my friend. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. Dan, what do you want to crack on with? Should we get, as per usual, let's get the Saints out of the way. We had a little bit of a pre-chat before we came on. None of us have really been that interested in what's been going on a higher level. On the basic level, I think we all know, don't we? So, Erik, what are your thoughts on, well, firstly, the appointment of Kellen Moore?
Oh, man, I'm excited. It's nice to have a young guy who's going to bring us something. We needed a guy with some juice. The team needs some juice. The organization needs some juice. And just the feeling around how they're moving things around with Kellen Moore and the staff, everybody seems excited, top to bottom.
Yeah.
So, I just want to have fun again. I rooted for the Saints when they sucked. Like, I saw a lot of shitty seasons. I don't need them to win the Super Bowl every year. I just want to have fun.
Yeah, it's enjoying the season. It's like, all right, if you don't get the playoffs, at least give us 8 games where we go, fuck, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Even if you lose one or two of them, that was a great game. That's what you want, do you? It's like, I've said before, it's a bit like playing golf. Like, you have that, it can be shit for the whole round, but if you have 1 or 2 good shots, you're like, fuck, I want to go back. And that's what you want. You want to have something to make you go, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm getting more excited about it. I do, whilst I haven't paid as much attention as I should have, I do quite like the moves he's making, like bringing in some of these college coaching staff, and he's obviously brought in Staley and Nussmeier and things. And I think bringing Joel Thomas back is probably a good move because I think Alvin Kamara is a big fan of his. So I think I feel like he's making the right moves. It feels like, I don't know a lot about these people, but the vibe I'm getting from the fan base is they are good moves that he's making.
Yeah, well,
they're different moves.
Reflection. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, all I was saying is that it's all different. It feels from a coach. Obviously, you can talk about the front office, but from a coaching perspective, I know some people have come back, and as Dan, you touched on it there, that might be a good thing. But across the board, it's all new, fresh faces, and I think that's probably what a lot of people wanted.
It's nice that we're not getting a rehash of old staffs. It's just new blood in the building. And, and it's nice the front office has let him build the staff that he wants. And they're giving him, and it seems all intents and purposes, they're going to give him the time he's going to need to rebuild. Because it's going to take some years. Our cap situation's not the best. And, we're probably 2 years out from competing seriously. So,
I think
give him some time.
With some of those coaches, the coaches they've retained, Jari and Williams, the players love them, and then Joel Thomas, obviously the running back room, love them. So I think he's got a nice mix of players' favourites who the players are going to react well to, and then bringing in some his own people. But it's like, I'm just glad it's not, with Dennis Allen, you just could look at it and go, where's the Oakland Raider connection? Whereas now it's, some of these players, these coaches don't even have an obvious connection to him. He's obviously just gone, I like what this guy's doing. I can vibe with him. He can come in, and I think he'll do a good job, which is what you want, right? You don't just want it to be the old boys club of he's my mate, so I'm going to give him a job.
Even if
I mean, I'm sure they
fucking Bill Johnson or Joe Vett, both, fuck them.
Yeah. There is always it's sort of, this feels more like a little bit of appointment by committee. It's almost like Kellen Moore has got the people he trusts and is asking them for their input on it, which might, obviously a lot of people have come from the Eagles, and, there's people with Dallas connections. But, you go down the list of all of the coaches now, and there are so many names on there that you have no idea about. And I think that's actually a good thing. Because when you used to go through the list of all the coaches, there was just a familiarity with them, people coming back or people from a certain tree. And so I'm just, bottom line is, it's something new even if it falls on its arse, it's something new and it's something to get excited about.
He's planting his own tree, right? That's what he's doing. He's planting the seeds for his own tree.
Yeah,
the one
exactly. Hopefully,
I'm most intrigued about is the guy from LSU that everyone seems to be really excited about. Is that the O-line coach? I forget.
Was it Kyle Williams, the D-line coach?
I know they brought. Yes, I think so. Yeah, they
Bo
brought somebody
Davis.
from LSU.
No,
Bo Davis.
Was it Bo Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, there's a way to get some of the fan base on board. We know a lot of people support both LSU and the Saints, and also I know there was a lot of upset from LSU fans who weren't particularly pleased with it. But hey, look, such is life. The fact that he had a comfortable job there, he was highly respected, and he's now come in to take a fairly senior but still not that senior position in the NFL, and he's not a young man, is he? So
he's
I
54.
think again that bodes well. Well, he's the same age as me,
Yeah.
so he's not a young man.
I saw someone say there's no greater rival, or the most underappreciated rivalry in sports is LSU versus the Saints. Because when it comes to pulling on a fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't, obviously the whole, from what I've seen, as I said, I haven't been completely and 100% involved for other reasons, but the main talking point is still, which I wish it wasn't for a number of reasons, but it's the Derek Carr situation. It looks like from reports that he is looking at possibly taking a pay cut. What are the thoughts on that? I mean, regardless of whether you want him gone or not, which I think the majority of the fan base does, forget about what his play's like on the field. I think he's just too divisive for the city. I mean, the city is at war because of Derek Carr. Even if people agree about Derek Carr, they're still at war about Derek Carr. What are the thoughts if he takes a pay cut?
If he's going to take a pay cut and it's going to help us out, I mean, look, the reality is we're not competing this year anyway. So you know what the ceiling is. You know what the floor is. I mean, the floor was what? He was hurt most of last year. 5 wins.
Yeah.
Before that, we won 9 games. So if the ceiling's 9 games and the floor's 5, I mean, that's kind of what we were expecting anyway. I mean, I'm not expecting to make the playoffs with Kellen. I just want to see how he can manage things. And if they even keep Carr, there's different people saying he can get cut. They could try to trade him, or it's just. I mean, no one's going to take him on at the salary that he's at. So it's
no. It almost seems it almost seems like common sense to get him to take that pay cut and then trade him. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they can. I don't know.
Vegas won't come back for him. Wouldn't that be some shit?
They just duel him and Gino. I jokingly tweeted
that was last night. I forgot about that.
I think it was late for you guys. I woke up to it, but I jokingly tweeted out and I put in our Discord that we should offer the Colts Derek Carr for Richardson as a straight swap and try and turn Richardson into Jalen Hurts. Tongue was firmly in my cheek.
Yeah, I'm not a Richardson fan to be quite honest with you.
No.
And look, I mean, if it came to it, like, and Carr's going to build his staff, and we obviously know the quarterback's not on the roster. Let's see what Spencer can do. Let Spencer rip it for a season or half a season. Go sign another back quarterback, and then let them roll out. They're going to move Carr. They're going to cut him.
The thing is, it's like, in a way, excuse me, it's a bit win-win, right? If they roll with Rattler. If he turns out to be great, then you're like, yeah, we found our guy. If he's awful, we've got a better draft pick to go and pick out, next year's top quarterback, maybe. So, it's like there's probably quite a lot of upside to it in some ways, and more so than there is downside. You just got to look at what the silver lining will be either way, I think. Well, that's why I look at it. But I do think he probably needs to do something with Carr because he is divisive, and I do. To touching on Mike's point, I sent Mike a message over there. I think Derek Carr might get someone killed in the fan base because people are so worked up about him that I think people will end up getting hurt. There's going to be like some kind of altercation at some point, and
People
it's
hate
just
Derek
like
Carr,
fucking
that's
hell.
for sure.
It's like, yeah.
I mean,
But the people who hate him have the same sort of passion behind their hate as the people who love him. So it's like two absolute immovable objects coming at each other, and it's like he's never the right guy from a personality point of view, I think, as a
No.
team.
And look, anybody who came after Drew was obviously gonna have big shoes to fill. So it's just like, as a person and a player, it's unfair to hold people to that standard. Obviously, everybody wants that. But I mean, look, you've got a Hall of Fame person and a Hall of Fame player at the position. And then obviously there's, not everything's going to work out the same way, like we obviously didn't really have a plan in place to take it past Drew. So, it's the organization's fault for not having anything in mind.
Yeah, I've joked about it before. You both know we sort of contingency planned better for our punter, although it didn't work out, than we did for our quarterback. Yeah. And do you know, I spent the last few years, 4.5 years now, watching the Saints. Whenever whoever's been quarterbacking, I'm like, when they throw the ball, it's only recent I've realised that Drew was just so fluid and so good, and just you didn't have to flinch. Whereas some of them, they just look a bit gimpy when they throw it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just he was just so good. And you just hold everyone else to that standard, didn't you? After 14 years, you just like, this is the standard I expect. 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, and look, hey, if what they're charging to get into the games and what it costs to park and how much beers and everything cost, that's the standard people should have. People should expect the best if they want your money.
It's like, it's an entertainment industry, first and foremost. It is a sport, but
it's mad all the time. I'd watch the fucking news if I wanted to be mad all the time.
Amen.
God, no.
Amen. We're not going there because we don't do that. But I feel you. But on that point, I will say that the dollar to pound ratio is looking fantastic for my holiday next month. So I'll praise be to that.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
There's always a silver lining.
Spats hit 130 for the first time in God knows when. So I'll take that.
Yeah, for Saints, it's like whatever happens. The draft for me, I know we're not trade back. Not going to do that, but I'd love to do that. I don't really care who we get in the draft. Just try and get, if you're picking 9 players, at least get 5 who are serviceable to a relative standard or to a high standard. Just get 5 people you can put on the field. Because we need
excited about I can't get excited about free agent the draft until free agency's over, but I'm not excited about free agency because we've got fuck all money to play with.
Who are we going to get?
It's like people are going to me, do you think we can sign Devontae Adams? I don't even think we can sign Joey Adams. Devontae Adams.
But then also, I would say he's getting paid anyway, isn't he? So he might come in for some sort of vet minimum, but he wants to be on the East Coast, but who knows?
I'm curious if they end up taking Dart at 9.
I know G would love
Kellen
that.
Gets his guy, I'm behind it. Let your guy take his guy, and then build the rest of the team around it. I do like teams when they build their team first and then go after quarterback. There's a lot of success there in the past recently.
Yeah.
If the guy who's running this ship wants Dart, I'm 100% behind it.
I may have said this on here before, but I've got someone I used to work with, a friend of mine, who's a Commanders fan. And he always used to say to me, I don't understand why teams have got fucking awful O-lines, and they go out of the first or second pick of the draft and go and pick a quarterback and stick him behind the same O-line and absolutely get crucified. And I suppose he's speaking from like a, that perspective of seeing what happens at RG3 and things like that. And he's got a point. It's like you're probably better off building your team, and then if trade up and get the QB you want once you've got that all in place, then go with it. Because you're just killing someone before they've even got going, which was my whole thing about Spencer Rattler's. I didn't want to throw him in behind a depleted O-line and him get crushed before he got going. Although, it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Even Burrow gets smoked. I mean, and he's he's still throwing for 5,000 yards, but his offensive line's been terrible.
After that first season, everyone was like, "Surely they're going to get a tackle for him." He's like, "Nope, we're gonna trade pick Jamar Chase." It's like, that's worked out all right. Yeah.
No,
what do you want, Joe?
Guy's probably the guy you could argue is the best one. Depending on him and Jefferson. So
yeah. Wide receiver, you.
Yeah,
don't done it again.
State fans that.
Well, it's like, again, looking at Thomas and Neighbours, and who else came out last year? There was another wide receiver from LSU, right? Maybe I'm talking shit.
Keyshawn Butte in New England. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's not anything crazy, but I mean...
Yeah, it's steady number 3, isn't he, I suppose, for him.
There's a lot of young, elite guys who went to LSU that are, Neighbors, Thomas... Jettas, Chase, So having those guys it makes you look really good as a college.
Well, it's not just LSU, is it? Because who's the guy up in Buffalo who I like? Keon Coleman, he's from Louisiana, and CD Lamb's from Louisiana as well. It's like wide receiver state. Best place. It's like what Texas is for quarterbacks.
Well, per capita, Louisiana has the most NFL players. Based off population. Small state, but a lot of talent.
Yeah. So it's Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and California. Yeah, they're the top 4 that put them out. I find it funny when I'm going off on a tangent here. Whenever I do like a wiki walk and start looking at schools, and you just see like every high school in America just puts, or Louisiana, sorry, just. You go through their alumni of athletes, it's just like, there's like 6, 7, 8, 9 NFL players. Every high school you go to, it's like, this is nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's...
You all right, Mike?
There's a lot of guys.
Yeah, all good.
I think you're frozen, that's why. That's fine. It's cool.
All right, sorry.
So who's y'all's favorite player in the draft? Who are y'all looking for in the draft? Who's y'all's favorite player?
I'm torn, right? I went into it earlier wanting Mason Graham. But now I'm like, if we're going to flip up what we're doing on defense and not go, 4-3, then maybe we just, what do we need? We need a nose tackle from somewhere and then build around it. And I think maybe it's a case of finding those more athletic edge rushers that can then play in a 3-4. So maybe that's not my choice. Part of me, the sicko in me wants Genty, just because I'm a sicko. I just want to get excited. But we talked about, I want to be excited. And fuck it, just excite me. Or Will Campbell.
I'm a Marion Hampton guy. That's my RB1. So I'd like to get him in the second if he's there. Go defensive line or offensive line in the first. And if Kellen gets start, but I think Hampton's overall, that's my number 1 back in the draft.
What about the guy up at Ohio, Judkins?
Judkins?
Because he looks,
him and Anderson they're both very good.
Yeah,
you could have.
It looks like
both of them probably in the third.
Yeah, it looks deep, doesn't it? That's what she said.
The running back class is incredible this year. It's a very stacked. That's why I don't want Genty at like 9. I think we have a lot of other pressing needs at 9.
Well, I think someone might overreach for him, to be honest. I think he'll be gone by then. I think someone's going to talk themselves into saying we're a running back away from competing and let's just go for it. Probably the Raiders or someone like that. Or they need a quarterback. I'm not buying Geno as a long-term option.
They do need an exciting offensive player besides Bowers that'll put asses in the seats for sure.
Yeah.
And
They need that as well,
that
right?
could be the guy.
Well, you think
Saints
they're
did it
going
with
on
Reggie
tourism
in
as
06,
well.
They
Yeah.
took Reggie in 06, and that immediately sold out season tickets.
Yeah.
It'll take
Definitely.
more than that this time round, though, won't it?
Yeah.
I reckon my
the
bell
thing-
will get rung again. They
Your
emailed
bell
me
will
last
get
year.
rung again.
Well, you say that they ring the bell.
Yeah.
Offer you a season ticket. Not a BA's prices. I can't afford a season ticket right now. But let me check. Did I win the Euro Millions last night? Might be able to.
Did you win?
Yeah,
They didn't phone me, so probably not.
I'm sort as
Cool,
I said to you before, I'm not. I haven't got a favourite pick in the draft because I genuinely would love us to trade back and get a couple more picks and just get some, as I said, numbers in, but some good quality numbers as well. You could go through the names, can't you? I think you've touched on some of them. You got Campbell. Do you go cornerback? What happens with the Debo? It's yet again. I think you're right, Dan.
I think that's a big.
Until next week, actually, when a lot of stuff like obviously you have to be cap compliant. Free agency is starting to open up. It's a difficult one, isn't it? You just don't really know which area you're going to have to look in until that period of time. And I think the Debo thing is a big thing.
I mean,
he's gone.
I think he's going to get 15 to 18 mil. I think.
You reckon he's going to get that much?
I put out videos of him doing backflips and all this. He's been running for a couple months. And the thing is, he's got a penalty problem the last couple of years, but the guy also creates a lot of turnovers and teams value.
No, he does.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you've got a lockdown number one that he's going to play alongside, then it's like and that's what the benefit was, right? With him with Lattimore, no one threw to Lattimore, and Adebo was cleaning up on what he needed to. That DB room is, I think, if they can't re-sign Will Harris and then Adebo walks, I think they've got real pressing needs in the secondary.
It's bleak.
Yeah, because I'm going to hold my hands up. Jordan Howden has not been the defensive back that I thought he was going to be.
That was he wore the bird number. He wore 31. That's his fault. That number's cursed.
He was my boy, but he's not anymore. I've even taken off my Twitter bio. It's like Jordan Howden's stan has been deleted off. It's like nah. And
man,
Terrence getting old.
Put it back. It's because you took it off.
Fuck me.
I'm a Will Harris guy now. I want to re-sign Will Harris. I like Will Harris. He signed Dylan's shirt and he hits like a fucking steam train.
No,
so give me that.
People. It's awesome. Yeah, he hits like an old school safety used to.
Dan is just like a cheap whore.
It's like
he really is.
It's not like what. Listen.
Just show him a little attention. He'll love you forever.
Entertain me,
love that man.
Yeah.
They have been known to love my wallet. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Nick. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Euro Millions rolled over, so it's 120 million. So I'm going to win it on Tuesday. There we go. That's what I need.
Nice.
Then I get a place on the North. I'll get a place on the North Shore and I'll come and hang with Erik every weekend.
Yes, awesome. That'll be great. We'll have a wonderful time. We'll go to Gnarly Barley, get some Juicifer. We can go drive to Parish and get some Bloom, some Dr. Juice. Go to the machine.
I'm not gonna lie, I've got a semi on right now. What you're talking to me about? You're talking really dirty to me.
Jesus Christ!
Hey, some IPAs will do that to you, man.
Talking my language. Parish.
I thought you said for a moment there, Erik. I thought you said my PA will do that for you. I was like, is there another story that we need to hear now?
Play your cards right. We might get another one. We'll see what happens. That's going to be on episode 2 of this trilogy that we're going to have. We'll make this a trilogy of the podcast.
Yeah, we can go progressively darker.
Yeah. It'll get weirder and weirder each time.
And I'm getting new internet next month, so when that improves, there won't be any delays. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, the next
Where's
episode
he
is going to
gone?
be called Saint City and Me Geopolitical Landscapes. That's the next episode.
No, I'm still here, mate.
Yeah, I'm not. I just. It's a strange world at the minute. Let's just enjoy ourselves. I fucking could be bootsing up for World War III in a couple of months in Europe, so let's just live it large while we can.
I'm going to need you guys to learn Russian, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to communicate with y'all in the future.
Yeah, Das Vidania. That'll do me. Is that Russian, right?
Yeah, it is.
I have actually been to Moscow when I
You told me
was
that.
15. Yeah, I went there with a drama group I was in, and we stayed.
I hear it's a beautiful city.
There's two sides to it, right? So where we went as exchange students, and we stayed with families, and I stayed in like a family in a proper Eastern Bloc, like it was like 20 high-rise towers and stuff that were there and stuff like that. And
A bit
funny
like Romford.
story. No. Yes, a little bit, but yeah, sort of like Tottenham.
Yeah.
But a funny story, we was playing outside in the snow. So Moscow, beautiful, all the Kremlin and all the cathedral and stuff like that, really, really pretty. I went in February, so it was cold as balls. We was playing outside in the snow, and a dog ran up and bit me on my ankle. And I was like, a couple of days later, I come home, in the car coming home from the airport, and my mum goes, "Oh, so you had a good time?" Yeah. Nothing bad happened. No. I did get bitten by a dog. That was it. I got taken off to some medical centre in Cambridge, miles away, because they were worried I had rabies, and I had to have rabies jabs for the next 6 months in case I had rabies. And I tell you, I'm not even lying, the dog bit me on the bone of my ankle, and they had to inject into the bone of my ankle. Fuck me.
Ooh.
That hurt.
Yeah.
I was like 14, 13. Yeah. Really hurt.
As much as the dog bite part of that was really interesting, mate. I want to wheel back a little bit to the your drama career. Let's hear a little bit about that. So you're on a drama exchange, were you, mate? But what happened there?
Yeah. Well, I did plays and shit. I did a bit of modelling, but I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah, child modelling, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You did a couple of adverts as well, didn't you?
I did some adverts, but listen, I will never be as pretty as the photo I have of Erik when he was about 12, posing with his side parting. The most beautiful child I've ever seen in my life.
You know, my mom would agree with you.
That photo, I every now and then I send it to Erik and go, there you go, there he is.
Yeah,
Like a young Ringo Starr with that haircut.
And
Whereas
so
I was just...
I might have looked 12, but I was 18. It's the face, you know.
That's going to serve you well down the years, my friend. It's going to serve you well.
Do you know what? That brings us to I think let's finish with the Saints. Brings us to a nice point. No, I think it's a nice interlude. I think it's a nice segue into the first time we met you in person. So we obviously met you. We met you. We became friends through the Saints Twitter podcast Discord, where we was in, and we became friends there. And me and Erik played a bit of Madden online, and he was coming over to London for the Vikings game with his good lady Michelle. We met at Ninth Ward Bar. And Mike, do you remember? And I'm pretty sure Erik does, but Mike, do you remember the way you introduced yourself to Erik?
The answer will be no, because as you are fully well aware, Mr. Harper, I was not in the best of condition that night.
She was shit out.
I only have vague memories of it because Erik has told me and you have told me. It's probably easier if Erik recounts the story because he'd probably have a better take on exactly what it was I said. But it was genuine because your online persona led me to believe this.
So for the people at home, Mike thought I was an incel. And they expected me to be just a full-on, bald, overweight neckbeard and was like, "Yeah, you don't look anything like I thought." And I will tell people at home. So on the outside of this pub, there's a little bar where you could set your drinks down while you're having a chat. If you want to light up a cigarette. And I set
I'm
my
just
beer
going to go and
down,
get my cape. I'm just going to go and get my cape, Eric.
and I set my beer down, and I look over, and there's like 30 half-drank beers like mine. And I'm like, I don't know which one's mine. Mike looks at me, hands me the beer in his hand, just take mine, and he just grabs a random beer off that rack and just kills it. I was like, I don't think that was mine. I was like, I don't think that's mine. He goes, doesn't matter. I was like, okay. So if anybody...
London born and bred, Eric. London born and bred.
I'm just going to tell y'all, I think Mike was actually patient zero for COVID. I think that's probably where it all
Yeah, well, you know, could well have been. I think Dan's actually got a Jason Bourne video of me doing that on one Super Bowl night as well.
I remember saying to him, drink as many of those beers on that table as you can. And he did it, and I filmed it. I was like, I'm Jason Bourne in this. Oh my God, that's Jason Bourne.
It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was just after the Super Bowl had finished, so we'd had
Which
quite
Super
a lot
Bowl
of
was
drinks.
that?
But anyway,
Chiefs 49ers? Chiefs 49ers? No, Chiefs Eagles.
Chiefs 49ers.
First time round. Yeah.
Oh, it's the first, yeah. That was just me, you, and Alex, weren't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so
When
Jason Bourne was with you. Perfect.
Yeah, the real Jason. That was when I nearly got into... So, two elements of that night, I nearly got into fights. One was when I was throwing the stuff at the guy who I thought... So, there was a guy in a Taysom Hill jersey. We was on a balcony. He was sitting downstairs on the tables. And I was like, oh, look, Taysom Hill jersey. And I looked down, and he's not in a Taysom Hill jersey anymore. He's in a Green Bay Packers jersey. And I was like, you fucking arsehole. So I started throwing chips and shit at him. And other people were joining in. And then the guy in the Taysom Hill jersey comes back, and they were brothers. I was like, shit. And then there was those Chiefs fans behind us who were doing the Chiefs chop or whatever it is. And I kept going, so you're racist. That's racist. It's like, yeah, Dan, shut up. You need to leave.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
We'd have been all right, though, because we had the real Jason Bourne with us, didn't we? So we would have been okay.
Yeah.
Alex would have taken care of them for us.
The people at home won't get that joke, and it makes it even better.
One day we'll get him on, but we're gonna like blur his face out and distort his voice so no one knows it's him.
It's gonna be one of those TV channel interviews where it's like former biker gang member, and it's just like
give him a really effeminate voice and
so we'll give him a Birmingham voice. That'll go down well.
So that was the first time we met, right? It was a great weekend. We went to Tottenham game together, the Vikings Saints game. We sat together, had a great. Well, you didn't sit with us, Mike, because you was in the posh seats. But we had a good fun, right? We enjoyed. We lost, but we enjoyed ourselves.
Not so much the people in front of you. I don't know if you remember why they didn't have a good time.
Listen, right? He was a Vikings fan, and you got a fair share of that pint of beer as well. But it was Di's fault. Di, if you're listening, it was your fault.
It's definitely Di's
fault. Because I had my beer up in my hand doing the skull clap. So we were taking a piss out of her, right? Because we were winning, and we started doing the skull clap, all the Saints fans. And Di comes out of nowhere, just clatters my beer out of my hand. It covers. Do you know what? I got the guy's Gav. His name was Gavin, the Vikings fan. I've got him in my phone. Covered him in beer, and then he was a nice guy. I felt awful. I genuinely felt so awful. But I also got like 20% of it on Erik as well because he was sitting in front of me.
You also got some on the people in front of him, and so the people in front of him were bitching at him. He goes, "I didn't fucking do it." One guy's windbreaker was soaked, and this guy was pissed, and he's just bitching at the Vikings fan. And the Vikings fan just like, I'm like, they look at me, I'm like, I didn't fucking do it.
Do you know what? I was vibing. Chopper Style had just been on. We were going for it. No, Stand Up and Get Crunk had just been on. The vibe was great at that game, even though we lost. But I covered someone in a whole pint of beer.
You'll be pleased to hear, Eric, he's no longer like that because he now brings Dylan along with him. He's not allowed to behave like that in front of his kid. That's right, isn't that? He's calmed you down at the games.
Yet.
Well, if
Yeah.
Gavin the Vikings fan ever hears this, there's worse golden showers to take. So at least you only got beer.
Well, we've lost our
Swiftly
season
moving
tickets
on.
because we've lost our season tickets, haven't we? Because they've cancelled them. So fuck them.
Yeah, dude,
greedy
what
fuckers.
A bunch of bullshit. Like it's just a money grab. Just a money grab.
Yeah, put the price up and hope to get new people in who will buy merch. Even though I spent 150 quid at the NFL Europe store this week in the sale and whatever. Yeah, it just annoys me because they don't take that into account. But
it's
no loyalty on their behalf.
It's tone deaf, you know.
Yeah, it is. But that's no different over here, Eric. Sorry, Eric. I was going to say that's no different over here. If Arsenal or Tottenham decided one year they were just going to strip every one of their, same with the Saints. If one year they just thought, you know what, we're really popular now, we're just going to take every single season ticket holder's ticket away, who might have been going for 10, 20, 15 years, and we're just going to put them up for sale again. And all it is the secondary market in the UK will go, it's crazy already. It's now going to go absolutely mental. Because even though there are a number of season ticket holders every single year, within 5 minutes of the tickets going on sale, half of them are on the secondary market already. It's just absolute greed. And, the thing about it is I don't think it will, but it may backfire on them because a lot of people would have kept their season tickets on the hold, hoping that their team comes over, but knowing that they'd be guaranteed a ticket. The shit that they're sending over to London at the moment, there's a distinct possibility that some of those games are not going to be filled out because we are just getting the absolute cess of the NFL who are coming to London. Whereas every other city around the world is getting successful teams who are doing well with major fan bases. We're just getting the absolute dregs. So it may backfire on them, but I have a feeling it won't. You know what it's like. These things always find a way of selling out.
Yeah, well, look, it was very shocking to me to go and see the amount of NFL European fans there. I mean, it was just someone, I forget who it was, who just said it looked like a quilt of just different jerseys throughout the stadium. It really, like we talk about it all the time. It was a tremendous experience. I'm so happy I was able to do that and took the chance to go. I talked myself out of the 2017 Dolphins game, and I regretted it. And as soon as the Vikings game popped up, I was like, I have to go. I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah. So is Paris next year on your itinerary, Eric?
Not Paris. We're planning the wedding right now. We're doing all that.
Yeah.
And, we'll probably do Italy eventually for our official honeymoon, but we'll do a small one after the wedding. So we're getting married in the French Quarter, so that's costing us a little bit more than we
Yeah, I bet it is
to spend.
Yeah.
But now the plan is Italy and then hopefully Amsterdam.
Yes, highly recommend it, my friend.
Dave,
highly recommend it.
If you're saying anything, it's not coming through.
No, I know. I realised. I was going to say we'll be back there in 20. We'll be back there in 2027 because me and Nick said we're going to renew our vows for our 20th wedding anniversary in the French Quarter. So we'll it's double down 2 years on the bounce. Yeah,
perfect.
You're coming.
The cathedral. Do it at the cathedral.
When
yeah, we're not
what
Catholic.
What month is your anniversary?
May.
I'm sorry, Emma.
No, okay. Oh, you're brave. Oh no, that's all right. May's probably all right, isn't it? Weather-wise, just get away with it, maybe.
Oh, May.
When's Jazz Fest?
Jazz Fest is usually April, May.
End of April, beginning of May. What date's your anniversary?
It's the end of May, so that'll be no good.
Ah, right, okay.
Well,
There'll be a festival on. Go on, Eric. What's on at the end of May?
Fuck yeah, there'll be something. Strawberry Festival. That's in Covington, right? Where's Strawberry Festival?
That's in
Ponchatoula. That's right. Yeah, Ponchatoula, because they make the hard hide whiskey. As advertised.
The Ponchatoula Strawberry Fest is a big deal. It pops off. I haven't been in a long time.
What's your favourite
But, yeah.
festival, Eric?
Preferably none of them. It's too many people. But if I had to pick, I do enjoy French Quarter Fest a lot. Usually pre-Saturday French Quarter Fest, just because you don't get the crowds, and a lot of the locals are still working. Like people from out of town are in, so it's cool. You get the kind of vibe of people from out of town. But Saturdays, I'll go, but I don't love going on Saturdays, just because it's just a pain in the ass to get anything.
When did we meet you on a Friday?
We met on a Thursday, I believe.
Thursday. That was good.
It was
a good day.
Thursday. Yeah.
That was good. The rest of the Friday wasn't so good. Didn't feel too good.
Yeah. You were a bit dodgy, weren't you, my friend?
Oh man, I took Thursday and Friday off to go, and then Friday I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make this back.
Yeah, you and me both, because I had an incident that was a very near miss.
Yeah.
God, talking about
We
toilet
almost
accidents.
had one after By Me Boys.
You came to my rescue with that Imodium.
Oh. Yeah. So y'all getting stuff
all
at
right.
Walgreens. I was like, they're not getting Imodium. I gotta help them.
I think we need to stop talking about Dan's constitution. Actually, it's a bit of a regular occurrence on this pod. There isn't a moment where we're not talking about Dan's arse.
Thank you, sir.
You gotta talk about what makes the money, you know?
That's where the only Dan's comes from. Only Dan's.
Right.
Right, Mike, get us back on track.
I was going to say, I'm going to try and control this a little bit. Obviously, Eric, you're a Louisiana native, and I think one of the things that Dan was obviously wanted to talk about is like growing up in the area. For people who love the area, like myself and Dan, who have obviously only ever been able to see it through sort of our adult eyes, what was it like growing up in Louisiana?
You know, I wish I could really sum it up. I had a pretty boring childhood for the most part, you know. So I'm still a dork, but I was a dork growing up. So, and then too, like, I grew up kind of in the middle of nowhere. So like, for people who are from the area, like I'm from a small town called Bush. Technically, it's a village. You know, it's on the other side of Abita Springs, in between Abita Springs and Bogalusa. Our closest neighbor was like 400 yards away. So like, and then we lived right off of a major highway. So like, it's not like I could just go ride my bike on a major highway where people are doing 70. So it's just like, yeah, my dad makes fun of me all the time. He's like, man, you never wanted to do shit outside. It's like, yeah, what am I do? Throw a fucking stick to myself? So.
No, but that's interesting insight though, because people just think of, I'm sure a lot of people we talk to on the pod just think of Louisiana just being like New Orleans, and obviously it's not. It's very different from New Orleans.
Dude,
the rest of the state.
I'm from the country, man. It's different world compared. It's only, you know, I think 50 miles from the city. It's I mean, if somebody lived like just somebody who like just say they moved out of state into mid city New Orleans, they drove out there, they think they were in Deliverance or some shit probably.
Yeah.
I mean, they're driving through, they're hearing banjos playing, you know, ring ding 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 ding. But it was a very quiet childhood. Both my parents are from mid-city. They wanted to move in the mid-'80s, and so they did when my brother was young. My grandfather had bought the land after World War II. He fought in the Army, came back with a tax attorney, ended up becoming a judge, and had bought like basically, you know, small farmland basically is what it was. He raised some horses, different animals, goats, and things like that. And then eventually my dad bought it from his parents, and then, you know, put a house there. They don't have any horses or goats there anymore. There's no livestock or anything like that. But it's very quiet. It's totally different than what you would see, even where I live in Covington. There's not street lights. Like I would go to people's houses as a kid, and street lights would keep me up at night because I'm just used to all pitch black at night.
Mm.
You know, you can't see your hand in front of your face if you go outside.
That sounds amazing to me. I'd take that all day long.
It's I'll tell you, like as a kid I hated it, but now that I'm older I appreciate it a lot. Like growing up in that quiet like that, and having a really simple childhood and everything like that. You know, there's things I definitely missed out on. I didn't see my first ice cream truck come down the street till I was in college.
It's things people take for granted, right? It's things people take for granted.
I thought it was I didn't think it was a real thing until I drove down to college. I was like, wait, I thought that was just some fucking thing in cartoons. And they're like, no, it's a real thing. But no, I have no complaints. I had a good life growing up, man. You know, and I've gotten the best of everything. You know, it was an hour away from the city, so you know, I went to my first Saints game in 2002. We played the Packers. The team was 1-0. Brett Favre and crew were coming in. We beat the Packers. We were 2-0. And I wasn't a huge football guy at the time, but I just remember the whole stadium going nuts, and they were all chanting 2-0. That's how excited everybody was. They won 2 fucking games, and they're all going 2-0. And
that sounded like Saints. Sounded like Saints fans this year, Eric.
Yeah. It's actually funny. A guy on the Packers was a Saints great, Mike McKenzie. He was on the Packers at that point. He ended up coming to the team later. But I only knew Mike McKenzie because I just remember he had played in that game. But, you know, Deuce ran all over him. Aaron Brooks had a great game. The defense picked Favre off a couple times. It was an awesome first experience because growing up, you know, my older brother, when we were kids, he was a Niners fan. He loved Steve Young. He loved Jerry Rice. So naturally, I gravitated to who he liked. And then once he got older and started going to Saints games, he became a huge Saints fan. He's how I got my season tickets. You know, he started going in 04, 05. And, you know, he missed the Katrina season. That was supposed to be his first official season. And then after that, you know, he had tickets all the way up until I gave him back to him in 22. And then he lives in Texas, so he wasn't going to come back. So he ended up giving him up. But it all started with that Packers game in 02 is you know, what my love for the Saints kicked off.
So how old was you then? 12?
Shit, no, in 02 I was
10?
11.
11.
I was 11. I was about to turn 11. I think that's what the game was for. So I think that was my 11th birthday present. I'd be lying to you before you remembered entirely, but I just remember going.
Sorry, Eric, I'm just laughing at Dan. It was almost like Dan invented his own quiz there. What age were you then? Didn't let you answer. Was just going 10, 11. It was just like it was like let the guy answer. It's not a quiz.
I was 7 years younger than the haircut picture you have of me, so that's how we're gonna base it.
Dan, you have to
find that picture.
I'm gonna say that needs to go on as the for the pod episode picture.
What it says in the logo.
You can post it. It doesn't bother me.
If I haven't put one on YouTube for a while, so maybe that'll be. I wonder if when I look at my pictures on Apple, I wonder if Apple recognises that was Eric as a child. No, it doesn't.
Probably so. It's not much of a difference according to people. I still get carded in tons of places. I go to buy beer places. They're like, "Yeah, no, let me see your ID. You're not 30. You're not in your 30s."
I got carded last time I was in the US. I was like, "You fuckers, look at me. I'm bald and I've got a beard and I'm grey."
There was no way that was about age. Did they ask for a green card or something? 'Cause that wasn't about fucking age, mate. I can assure you. That's coming from the old man sitting here, my man's. So you were bought in from that point on, Eric?
Yeah, no, we were fully in. You know, it's watching Deuce and everything like that. Willie Rope, you know. So if you know Covington or anything like that, there's a big Walmart and Covington's a lot bigger than it used to be. It was always, we would call it town. Hey, we're gonna go into town. We're gonna go get groceries and shit like that because that's how small the town I was from. But Covington, you know, it had a Walmart where we could go grocery shopping because there weren't really grocery stores where I was. And one day we're walking near like one of the frozen sections, and Willie Rope was just signing autographs. And so there's Polaroids. Next time I go home, I'll see if I can find the Polaroid. But it's a Polaroid of Willie Rope with his signature on it. And
oh wow!
But it's just you could have. I mean, they don't do a lot of stuff like that anymore. But
no.
I mean, they were fucking good. So they got them out wherever they could, so they could get in front of people.
I was gonna say, all we get now is former Saints buying paint.
Yeah. Shout out to Eddie on those, you know.
yeah.
Do you get like a lot of players living like in Covington and Mandeville and places like that? Because I've seen it come up a few times. Like players don't live in the city; they live on the North Shore. Have you found that or seen that?
There's a decent amount. There's a really pretty high-end neighborhood called Sanctuary that guys live in. I think Brandon Ingram lived in there from the Pelicans, but I think Delvin Breaux might have lived there for a while. It's just, I mean, look, it's pretty quiet, you know. A lot of guys probably don't like attention. They don't want to risk attention being brought to them. And those are, and that's why a lot of people had come over here originally, is that it was just, they were trying to get out of the city. They wanted to be in an area that was quiet, and they, you know, that was just how the community was
and you're in the first. Yeah, and you could be in the city in no time at all, can't you? So it's, you know, it's from their point of view, it makes sense.
Anytime y'all come in, it takes me less than an hour to get to you.
Yeah, and just for anyone who's listening who hasn't been to New Orleans, so the North Shore is, as it sounds, it's the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain. You've got to go across the causeway, across the lake, 26 miles, 24 miles, the bridge.
It's like 24.3 miles.
Yeah, longest continuous bridge in the world over water. And you get to the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain, and that's where Covington and Mandeville and other places are, which is obviously where Erik resides in that part of Louisiana.
Yeah, I left for a year to live in West Louisiana in Lake Charles, and that was it. You know, I've only been here pretty much. And then 30 minutes away in Hammond, where I went to college.
Which is a southeastern Louisiana college, right?
Southeastern, yeah, Lions.
Yeah, shout out Tony, big southeastern guy. So you bring on to a good point. You lived over in Western Louisiana for a while. Everyone tells me that no matter what I think about food in New Orleans, the best food is Lafayette and over in Lake Charles when it comes to Cajun food. Do you concur?
Well, that is Cajun country, 100%.
Yeah.
So, like, Lafayette specifically has, honestly, I think Lafayette, pound for pound, can go toe-to-toe with New Orleans for food. It's incredible. And they've got such a huge mix of everybody, just because it's right in the middle of the southern, you know, south central part of the state. So, you know, if anybody wants to leave New Orleans or doesn't want to live here, or, you know, it's a little bit bigger, there's a big college over there. So if people want to go to college out there, the food's incredible. I've found many hole in the walls that have pound for pound been just as good as some of the stuff I've had here. And it was a little bit different. It was a little bit of a culture shock the first time I went to a crawfish boil. My dad was chuckling about it, because here people boil crawfish, they'll let them soak. You know, you cut the heat off. I found out there people would cut the heat off and then pour everything into pour the crawfish into a cooler, just, you know, like an ice chest. And they would throw in, you know, like a stick of butter and some seasoning and just toss it like that. And I was like, I literally had no idea what the fuck was going on. I was like, y'all don't let them soak? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, so they're like, no, this is if people want to suck the head. I'm like, well, if you suck the head, there's no flavor coming out from inside. It's just on the outside. And they're like, well, how do y'all do it? I'm like, we just let them soak for a while after you finish fucking boiling. And they're just looking at me. They're like, huh. And I'm like, huh. It was that was my biggest culture shock. That we're like, wow, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
I wish we had that meme. Them saying, ha, and Erik going, ha.
Right. Do you think the equivalent is like going up north and like a uncouth southerner going, mushy peas?
Yeah.
I say that because Erik is not a fan of mushy peas.
Man,
we know this. Hey, Erik, the trick is to put a little bit of vinegar on the mushy peas. You put a little bit of vinegar on mushy peas, they completely change. That
still doesn't sound very appetizing. I'm not gonna lie. I like vinegar.
We gave him mushy peas and a saveloy, and he was not impressed. And to be fair, he comes from a state where andouille sausage is, you know, the main staple.
Yeah,
we should have known. We should have got him a sausage in batter. That's what we should have done.
I just remember how excited Dan is for me to try this saveloy. If you don't know what a saveloy is, I guess for Americans, the best thing I can describe, think of just like a thick hot dog that's extra long, and that's what it tasted like to me.
And slightly more seasoned.
Yeah,
it's got
bite to it. It's got a real bite to it. The casing is you got to bite through it. But actually, when you think about it, in hindsight, I gave one of the more unseasoned British foods to someone from one of the most amazing culinary places in the world. It's like, you fucking idiot. What have I done? The fish and chips was
I know.
alright, though.
And you're
The fish and chips.
but Dan, you're our food expert. I can't believe you fucking did that, mate.
I love
Jesus
saveloys,
Christ. Yeah.
but not because I'm drunk when I eat them.
Dan,
I'll
I
tell
love a
you.
saveloy.
His other recommendations were tremendous. Brick Lane was a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna get.
I've never
The
had
cu- the
Indian
curry-
as good as that. I still think about it.
But that's the thing. It's like we've had quite a few guys who are from the States on here have obviously been to London, even like Ross and John Hendricks, and that's the one that and yet again, it's not obviously per se, it's not British culinary food, but it is now because it's part of our, the chicken tikka masala. I don't know if it's still now, but up until about 5 years ago, it was the most popular dish in the UK. And that was a dish that was formulated from Southeast Asian food. The sauce became they would never have sauce in where it was originated from. But now that's part of the British culinary culture. And anybody who comes from the States who has Indian food in this country is just blown away by it. Absolutely blown away by it.
Best food we
It
got.
was tremendous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's funny you say that, Dan, isn't it now? Because it's actually, the food scene in the UK in the last 15 years has just gone. It's just erupted. I mean, you can go to any market in any place in the UK or any city and you can get absolutely fantastic food. You really, really can. I think it's one of those things, even for me, who's been born and bred in this country. I now look at the culinary scene in the UK and I think it's absolutely amazing. And I do get it from, I see loads of people on TikTok when they're talking about the fact that the Brits don't season any food. And I think that was right. And I think that was right for a number of years, but it's certainly not the case now.
No, I tell people all the time, we went to the Churchill Arms pub to meet some friends that we know. They're from, hold on, because I got made fun of when I said it the first time. Suffolk? Because I said
No, that's
I
right.
pronounced it. I pronounced it
Yeah,
Suffolk.
you're there.
They made fun of me. And and so it just looks like a typical, UK pub. And then you go in the back and it's a Thai restaurant. And I mean, there's a lot of Thai food around here, but it was the food there was tremendous. I had this duck curry that was to die for, and we didn't have a bad meal while we were in London. I mean, it's I guess
we get a bad rep
compared to the best is probably like New York. It's just got such a diverse group of people that live there in such concentrated areas that it's all kind of mushed over into a little bit of everything. There's inspirations from everywhere. The food in London was fantastic.
I was going to say, it's almost like a Chicago type thing. You go to the high-end places and they are absolutely phenomenal. But if you go to like the bottom of the chain, you're going to find the same very similar stuff. Yeah,
I don't know if you saw it. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. Keith Lee was in London, and literally, I didn't see a restaurant that he didn't put in the nines for the food that he sampled in London. And yet again, that's coming from somebody who was born and bred in. The only thing 25 years ago, the only thing that I would want to go out and eat in a restaurant would be Indian food. Now, I'll go and eat anywhere because it's just upscaled. Yet again, we're not going to get into the geopolitical thing, but that's where immigration is wonderful because you bring these cultures over, you bring everything over, and you can sample it. But anyway, we're moving back.
Are you talking about Keith Lee, the wrestler?
No,
the TikTok food reviewer.
Let me Google that.
You must know Keith.
He'll go places that people in. And then he'll give him a bad review, and people get pissed at him for giving his thoughts.
Oh, I've got him. Yeah.
Yeah, he usually reviews stuff in his car.
Yeah. He's whether you like him or not, he's one of the most well-known sort of food reviewers in that social media landscape.
Yeah, that looks like him. It's
that pixelated sort of thing. That looks a bit like him. It looks like he's been made out of Lego.
It's a Minecraft Keith.
He'd be called Dave if he was on Minecraft.
Yeah, Dave. All right, so that's culinary delight. What else? When you were over, Eric, you were saying about you went to the pub and the Thai restaurant. Was there anything else that you ate when you were in London, or what culturally was there anything else in London which was a bit of a surprise to you, apart from a drunk bloke from London being able to just drink anything that was on the outside of a pub?
You know, it shocked me. So before we went, I forget the name of the place we had fish and chips at, but they were walking us around, kind of showing us some places to go. And Dan's like, man, if you want to go get tacos, this is a pretty good Mexican place. And I just kind of looked around and said, a Mexican place? I said, in London? And he goes, yeah. And he looked at me, I was laughing. He's like, no, like, I'm serious. He's like, am I fucking with you? I'm like, oh, okay. Did not expect Mexican restaurants to be a thing there.
That may have been Oaxaca, Mike. I can't remember. I was pretty drunk.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a theme
that
here.
That might have been the name. To be honest with you, it sounds like it. But I just told him, I was like, I'm not going to get tacos. I can get that here.
Do you know what, Nick?
Yeah.
Someone else came over and we was trying to organise where to go for something to eat, and Nick was like, "Let's take them to." I think it was. She said like it was either Mike. It was either Bodine's or Red Dog Saloon. I said, Nick, yeah. I'm not taking someone from West Texas for barbecue in London. You can get fucked. I said, let's take them somewhere good. I'm not taking them to eat knockoff. It's like me taking someone from Kansas City and going, yeah, try this. And they'll be like, what the fuck is this? It's like, it's going to be shit.
Yeah.
I'm better off cooking at home.
Yeah.
Shout out that spatchcock chicken.
Dan can throw down on the grill. And
he can.
Listen, buddy, if you can get a flight over, in and out, long weekend, end of May, I'm doing a smoke out at home, loads of Saints fans, in and out. No one will know you're gone, mate. No one will know you're gone. I'll let you use my air miles.
Perfect. I'll hit you up for your air miles. Perfect.
Yeah. I'll book the flight.
There's a British Airways sale on at the moment, Eric.
No, I'm virgin, mate. I'm Virgin. Delta to Atlanta to London.
Just a quick one. I had do you remember down a little while ago, I did a list, and it's sort of funny to me anyway, that I tried to do a list of all of the different places that I've eaten in New Orleans, and there's 47 restaurants and establishments on there. So in the time that I've been going over, and they're the only ones that I can remember, I've eaten in 47 different places, which I think is, and not in a hurry, you wouldn't be far behind, mate. And that's the beauty of it. You just try everything, don't you? Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, just try everything.
So one thing I am a massive fan of is trying different things, and I get a bit despondent when people just try and repeat the same thing every time they go somewhere. So, people say to me, "Oh, you're going to Florida, you're going back here. I go, no, why am I going to go back to the same places? I'm repeating the holiday. And it's a bit the same when people I talk to go to New Orleans, they go, oh, I'm going to do this, because I did them all last time. It's like, it's a city with thousands of restaurants. You've got to try different places. Like, you don't just always go to, I quite like Mother's, but don't go to Mother's every time. There are some places I do go to every time, but, I like to mix up and try different places. I never had Barmy Boys until Eric took me.
Barmy Boys is one of my favorite places.
Yeah, give me the shits, but I did enjoy it.
Dat Dog too, Dat Dog is another place that's one of my favorites.
I'll hit Dat Dog every time.
I was going to say that was the thing I was going to say to you, is that you were just saying that I tried these places, and I knew the moment Dat Dog came up that you go there every single time you're there. But to be honest, so do I. And I also go to Barmy Boys every single time I'm in town. It just literally has to be done.
I think that's different, right? Because they're like you could grab food from there and go. It's almost like it's a pub.
Yeah.
That Dog magazine is like a pub. You go and you grab it, and they got such a variety on the menu that you could go there 30 times and not have the same, exactly the same thing, because you could mix it up with the different toppings and sauces and sausages they do and whatever else. With
don't you have the same thing every time you go though?
Yes, I
do.
do.
I'll tell you that. I don't give a fuck.
I'll tell you my order. My order is. You can blame Eric for this. My order is alligator sausage. Although maybe he doesn't have that.
I get duck. I get the duck sausage.
You get. I think you get the same as me. Other than that, etouffee and crispy bacon, crumbled bacon on top.
Yep. So it's the duck sausage, the etouffee, and then the crispy bacon on top. It's fucking killer. There's nothing like it. There's nothing you can get like that anywhere. And that's one of my favorite things about that place. Is it's just it's so off the wall.
Did you see the Mardi Gras one they did with the They did there's something green on it, something golden, and something purple. Purple pickled onion. It looked nice. It did look really nice.
Probably some type of mustard, if I had to guess, for the gold. And then green. I don't know what. Maybe green onion.
It was I think it was like jalapenos or something like that. Yeah,
jalapenos. Yeah, okay.
Jalapenos, pickled onion, and then the mustard. It was good. It looked good. I haven't tried it.
Obviously, for every holiday. They always do some special thing like that you can get.
Do you remember when we went to the one on Magazine last time and the woman behind the counter got pissed off because I didn't say WTF fries?
Yeah, you're like, can I get the what the fuck fries? And she goes, wow, I didn't think you'd say that to me. She was so offended. It's like, lady, it's an item on the fucking menu.
So, what the fuck, lady? Come on, that's what it means. I'm vocalizing the full word.
That was in the future. Acronyms only. Acronyms only.
That was a great day because there was like 12 of us in there, eating, drinking. That was
a crew.
First time I met G and Al. That was spot on.
You guys, I think, dipped out, but we all went to the Bulldog after, and we just sat having drinks, watching college football at the Bulldog for like 3 or 4 hours.
We went for dinner. Yeah. We went for dinner with Ross Jackson. That's why. That's why we ducked out.
Yeah. I like the Bulldog though. Bulldog's I think it's a great bar. It's got a hell of a lot of things on tap there. Yeah.
We walked past it when I was over last.
Street on the planet. I'll put Magazine Street up on any street on this planet. There's nothing better.
So we're looking at trying to come over in October for the half term here or school holidays here. And whilst I was looking at trying to book a package holiday, part of me is like, do you know what? I might just book my flight separately and just get like an Airbnb or Magazine or something because Virgin and BA, they're quite limited in terms of their hotels. And I as much as I like the French Quarter, I'd probably prefer to just via Brand Magazine, if I'm honest. I saw a lot of our friends live.
Have you eaten at Stein's Deli before?
No, I need to.
Okay, that's our next trip, man. Stein's is killer.
A Turkey and a Wolf. I've only eaten there once, but I've got their cookbook, and I love what Mason does there. But he references in that cookbook repeatedly Dan Stein. We walked past Stein's because it's on the way down to Turkey and the Wolf.
It's on Magazine as well, so like it's just right there by everything.
I think it's by that go to. Yeah, it's by that flag place, isn't it, Mike? I think Stein's. Or am I thinking of Molly's Rise and Shine? Yeah, we went in that place that sold the flags. I was trying to get a flag. Yeah. I think Stein's is near there.
I know the shop you're talking about. I don't know if Stein's.
Next to Deanie's and District Donuts.
So maybe not them.
It's almost let me look it up. It's Magazine in Jackson is where it's at. I don't know what flag shop y'all are talking about. I don't really buy a lot of flags.
I was looking for flags. I wouldn't go back. Their flags weren't great.
Yeah, Eric, I'm going to try and drag us back on some form of track now. You were talking earlier, obviously, about your first game and the fact that your brother was the one who got the season ticket and stuff. What was your favourite game in the Dome that you went to? Like your personal favourite? What would that be?
Man, shit. So NFC Championships definitely won against the Vikings like that. It's hard to compete with that.
Yeah.
But I really think like the Cardinals divisional game is probably number 2. Just beating the Cardinals' ass on that Saturday night because like at that time, like the day after the NFC Championship game, like I had classes, so like that sucked. But the fucking Cardinals game on a Saturday got that was my freshman year of college, so we went and got blasted, and that was a great time. But man, other than that, I think I might take, honestly, any home game from the 2011 season. 2011 was
God, yeah.
so
What a season that would have been to attend.
That was just the 11th season. Like, there was a Monday night game against the Giants. There was the Monday night, the game where Brees broke the yardage record. It was the 2011 season. It was the day after Christmas. It was a Monday night game. And when he broke that record, everybody went ape shit. And they paused the game for like 2 minutes. They let the crowd go nuts. Pierre Thomas had scored a touchdown. He had pulled a bow out of his pants and stuck it to the ball and tossed it to his mom. And they ended up him and Lance Moore got fined for having red and green cleats for Christmas. That's a no fun league type of shit, But
yeah.
I think, other than the two like big playoff games in 09, I think that 11 Christmas game where Brees broke the record.
Would that have been the Falcons game?
Yeah, anytime
I'm just trying to look at the stat. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think some of our for our international listeners or British listeners who haven't been fans as long, it's like I think it's probably a lack of appreciation for when Drew did these things and when the team did these things, how important it was to the fans for having, basically for a number of years your best player was your kicker, and then you had a decent linebacking core. This was important, and this was letting the fans celebrate for 2 minutes meant something to the city, and the fan base. I think we take that for granted, the younger fans, to an extent.
Look, I took it for granted, and I got to watch all of it, and it was,
yeah.
I look back on it a lot. Like, I think about his last season, his arm off a cliff, basically, he could hardly throw the ball, and, got lost in the playoffs, unfortunately, and it's just like, man, you wish he could have gone out on top,
Do you know what
really, few of them get to go out on top, like Peyton's one of the few guys who went out on top.
You got to know when your race is run, and to be fair, I think if they'd got to the Super Bowl after the Rams game, I think he probably would have hung up his cleats then. But
I think if we win that Super Bowl, he hangs up too.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah,
and then we end up with Tom Brady, because Tom Brady comes
to
play with Peyton.
I think exactly, it's a double whammy, isn't it? Because obviously it would have been another Super Bowl win, but also the trajectory of the Saints, I think, wouldn't have necessarily changed. And also, you probably got the likelihood that Peyton would have remained. Whether some people don't like the idea of that post him leaving, but
there's part of me that thinks that Peyton, in a way, as much as I appreciate everything Sean Payton did, I think there's an element of him who looked at the roster and went, "Oh fuck it, I can't be asked to rebuild this." Genuinely, and I don't blame him. He'd been there for 15 years, and he's just like, I can't start again. There's a lot of head coaches that probably would have done the same thing, but if he'd got Mahomes, he probably would still be here, right?
But
he wouldn't have gone.
And that's what I mean.
It's a catch-22. If you get Mahomes, you don't get Lattimore, and then defensive success probably doesn't happen right away.
Yeah,
of course, it won't matter with Mahomes.
Everything. Yeah. Every moment there is a sliding doors moment because the trajectory would have been different in whichever way, shape, or form it went. Because
you're rolling with
exactly.
Delvin Breaux and King Crawley the following season. Like I think we've had Delvin on. I still think Delvin, if he hadn't got injured and if he'd been managed properly, he would have been a really, really good cornerback.
Oh yeah, he'd had gone on to have another few years of success for sure. Yeah, he got from the team for sure.
Yeah, from a raw ability point of view, he would have been a great cornerback, but he just was fucked by the doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, bring us back positive, Mike, before we
wrap
up.
We went down a rabbit hole of sadness, man. I don't like this. I'd rather talk about food, man.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about food. All right. This is, go back to the old school questions, Dan. Go on, mate.
So what is your, go-to Louisiana meal? Now I'll caveat, I know we've talked about some of the things about gumbo and stuff like that, but what is your favourite? This
is a podcast for other people. Shut up. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, one, if you was to have it in someone's house, and 2 if you're serving a restaurant, because they're 2 distinct things in
Fair
Louisiana.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
You know, I think probably like if someone's doing it, like I want, you know, like boiled seafood, boiled shrimp, boiled crawfish. Those are like my 2 things to go over to other people's house and have. In a restaurant, man, like my tried and true thing, like if there's a new restaurant that pops up that's, you know, something I've never been to before, I typically try their fried shrimp first. If I don't like the fried shrimp, I usually don't go back.
Yeah.
So I'll get a fried shrimp platter. It's really hard to fuck up fried shrimp if you're from down here. Like if they fuck it up, then you know that they're not worth going to.
So that's the Erik taste test. Basically, it's like if they fuck that up, then they're probably going to fuck everything else up.
So it's fried shrimp. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll get the fried shrimp, fried catfish platters wherever I'm going. That's usually my staple at Acme. I'm a big Acme Oyster House guy. A lot of contention on who.
I've still not been.
We tried to get in, but we couldn't.
We'll go. So the thing
Oh,
is,
really?
like, we can always go to the one in Metairie because that one's not as busy as the one.
Yeah.
Where you guys always stay, and it's not far. Like it's 10 minute trip. So.
Where did we go? Where did we go? That Mr. Ed's, was it Mr. Ed's?
We went to Mr. Ed's, but we went to the one that apparently I had no fucking clue doesn't serve oysters. So it's Mr. Ed's Oyster House or whatever, and they don't have any fucking oysters.
And
the guy looked at me. He's like,
"Did you?
Oh, that dude was so fucking mean.
Did you?
Guys. What the fuck?
Did you?
This waiter was.
Did you go to which one did you go to? Was it on St. Charles?
Bienville. Bienville.
Yeah.
Is it Bienville?
Oh, right. Okay.
I think the one on Iberville is the one I went to with Dan in London, and the one on Bienville is the one we went to.
So this guy was
because I went to the one. I went to the Oval one.
And we don't have those here.
There's one on Royal. Yeah. The big ones are Royal, I think. But and do you know what the funniest thing of that night was? We'd had a couple of sherbets throughout the day, and Shane was with us and his wife. No surprise. And Erik leant over and gave me a big kiss on the cheek, and Dylan was like, "What the fuck?" But I said it. I've said it to Erik. I said it to Erik. This doesn't take away from anyone else. Nick loves everyone that she's met, but she was like, "Erik is my favourite by a long way." She absolutely adored Erik. She only spent half a day.
All right, you've just ostracised half our listeners.
I'm gonna get that framed somehow and put it on my wall. Next favorite. That's what we're gonna do.
When I told him, he was like, "Suck it, G," and he's like, "Oh shit, you haven't met her." No, but
yeah. Once she sees that he dips his chicken nuggets in mayo, she won't like him. So you know what?
Yeah.
No, but Nick was like, she loves Corey, Max, all the guys, but she was like, Erik is just, she just loved spending time with us and with you. But we had a good day. It was like pretty much all day, right? Even though we went to.
We had an adventure. I mean, we met up for early lunch at like 11. Went and had snowballs, and then y'all went to do something, and then I had drinks with Shane and his wife.
Preservation Hall.
Yeah, y'all went to Preservation Hall, and then we met up for dinner, and it was a good day, man. It was a great day.
It was really
Erik,
good.
Erik, I just want to give you a little shout out. Because obviously we spoke about the first time that we sort of got to know you on Discord and how I misrepresented you in London. But the one thing I would always say, and I think Dan would obviously agree, and any of the guys who have been over the UK would agree, you are always the first person to be in touch, to find out something, to organise something, to make sure you spend time with us, and to make sure that we feel at home in what we feel like is our sort of city, but is obviously your sort of city and region. And without fail, you do that every single time that anyone from the UK goes over. And I just want to dock my hat to you because it's absolutely fantastic that you do that, mate.
I appreciate that. It's always nice seeing people come and love a city that I love so much, and it's finding ways to relate to people is all everybody's trying to relate somehow. And finding, and food and drink and good times is the easiest thing to do that way. It's what I love doing. Look, I can't lie. I mean, I took the page out of y'all's book. Y'all were so generous to us when we came over to London. had to reciprocate it somehow.
Oh yeah, I had planned to say what Micah said. Like, you're literally the only person who.
Sorry, Dan.
Can you hear me?
No,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
hear you. No, I'm
No,
we
no.
can hear you.
I was going to say you are. you are the only person I could say, other than the first time I came to the city when I didn't know anyone. You're the only person who's come to see me every single time I've come to the city. You've been the first person to say, when are you over, what you're doing, what are your plans, let me work out what I'm doing. And I genuinely, without being this like becoming a sausage fest, I genuinely cannot wait to see you whenever I come over, because you are like the best guy I know. And that's me just being over
I came here for the
emotional.
sausage fest, so I mean that's what we're here for.
But you're just
It's,
like such a fucking guy.
I'd like to call it a Savaloy fest. It's a Savaloy fest.
Well, look, if y'all are going to talk me up every time, I'm just going to try to make it a point every week to come one hang out then. I mean,
just be in that bottom corner. Just you'd be like, who's
Anyway,
that guy
look,
on? You'd be like the guy on Pat McAfee's show who just chips in every now and then with something funny.
Yeah. We'll have a
You
screen
two
with my
get
face
a
on
room,
for
'cause
y'all, with just random quips from me the whole time.
You two need to get a room, but I'm going to try and yet again bring it back to reality for just a smidgen. And this is one that is right in your field of vision, Eric. What's your favourite local beer or local sort of New Orleans drink? This section could go on forever. I know that already, but let's hear it. For everybody out here, this is now the expert's take. Anybody who's going over to the city, this is the man that you need to hear.
I'm a Jucifer guy through and through. If I could inject it into my veins, I would. I'll tell you that there are a few breweries that I've been to compared to Gnarly Barley that do it like they do it. It's an incredibly well-run business. It's in the town I went to college in. I have a tremendous love for Hammond, Louisiana. It's we call it Ham in America, and it's a great place. And Gnarly Barley is just the epitome of a great business and great people who run that, and I'll support them to the day I die.
That's my beer. And even before Nick, right, honestly, when we came over at Christmas and Nick had been for the first time, we got to the hotel when she just went to the bar and got me a Jucifer because she knew I wanted a Jucifer. It's like, this is the best beer. It's my favourite beer in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. And I got you to thank for it because I wasn't going to have it. And you got me to try it. I went, I'm not sure about this. I had a second pint and I was like, that's my shit.
I don't remember. Where did we try that at that night? Was that at Bayou Beer Garden, or was that at... Did I make you get that at Dat Dog?
No, I think you maybe... Where's the first time I got it?
Or did I text you to get it? Because you might have been in a bar and I might have not been in town.
No, it would have been when the first time I saw you in New Orleans was when I came over for Jazz
when y'all
Fest.
came for Jazz Fest, huh?
Yeah, and we came back. You met me at it was at the Sheraton. You got me to have it at the Sheraton.
Oh, okay. Yep.
No. It couldn't have been Jazz Fest because Jazz Fest was when you turned up the day after me, and no.
Oh,
no, it might have been Jazz Fest actually.
Was it Mardi Gras?
No, it's Mardi Gras.
No, we weren't there long for Mardi Gras.
No, I didn't meet y'all when y'all came to Mardi Gras. I hadn't met y'all yet.
No,
it would have been Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
It was Sheraton, and then I was like, I'm not sure. And then we got another one in somewhere on Bourbon. I was like, this is my shit. Then we went and did karaoke.
Great time.
Good times. Old times. Hacienda. What Mike would call Hacienda days.
Hacienda.
Halcyon, not Hacienda. Hacienda was a club in Manchester, you prick.
Halcyon days before I got drunk against whatever game it was and tweeted some shit that fucking killed it all. But anyway, that's on me.
And that's another swiftly moving on. So, obviously, as a native of Louisiana, what would you say, Eric, is the... we're now talking about, rather than Louisiana, we're talking about the city of New Orleans. What's your favourite thing about the city that you you can tell us?
I think it's just the amount of things there are that you can do that are just different than everywhere else. You go to other towns, you go to other states, and everything just feels so uniform. Just everything's alike. Everything feels copy paste, and New Orleans just isn't like that. It's just so unique, and there's just not an experience like it anywhere else. No matter where you go, and look, I'm not like the most well traveled guy, but look, I've been to 6 or 7 countries now, so it's like I've been to some, pretty awesome places, but I still haven't found a place that is just like it.
Yeah, and that's not only like it's a weird one, isn't it? Because that's like not only the structural environment, because that in itself is quite mind blowing, but it's also the sort of the spirit and the people that are within the city. And yeah, again, we saw that, and we're going back to obviously football, but obviously yet again I think it was the first time in 12 years that New Orleans had the Super Bowl.
Since 2012.
Obviously, I'm a fan of the city, the state, the people, everything to do with it. But I'd never because obviously back then the social media explosion wasn't what it was. It's only really been the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years, maybe, where all those social media platforms have really grown and have become so popular and everyone tunes into them. But I've never seen a reception of a city that hosted a Super Bowl like they did for this one that's just gone. It's like, across the board, everyone's saying it's got to be in that sort of 5-year cycle. Just has to be. And yeah, again, that's about it's the geography of the city as far as where you can eat, drink, enjoy yourself, do the stuff that's great, and the stadiums there. Mm-hmm. But it was also from everything I heard about the people and the inviting culture and everything.
Yeah, they've had a run of crazy events. I mean, they had the Taylor Swift concert, they had the Sugar Bowl, they had the Super Bowl, they had Mardi Gras. It's and look, we didn't really partake in much Mardi Gras this year, but everybody. I commend anybody who has partook in all of that, because you're a trooper and you're just it needs to be studied.
It's that I saw it plenty of times. The guy that I think it's the meme of the guy who's obviously working, I think, in a restaurant where he's just outside with his head down. I saw that meme, and it was exactly what you listed there, which was all of the events that they've just had. And it was like the people in the city must just be like, Jesus Christ, man. But then they turn around and literally, in a month's time from now, French Quarter Fest hits. A month after that is Jazz Fest hits. Yeah, and so it's just,
Yeah.
And I'd implore anybody who goes over there, make sure that you tip the people that are servicing you.
That's when I say to Nick, I'll meet you at the park. I'm just nipping out to get some cigarettes, and then I jump on a plane to New Orleans to French Quarter Fest. Go, sucker! I'll see you in 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, the Harper version of Dad's Out to Get Milk is dang to New Orleans.
Do you not think that at the point where you turn around to her and say you're going out for cigarettes, she might think there's something wrong since you don't smoke?
Yeah, maybe, but
what the fuck?
It's a trope, and I'm going to live up to it.
All right, okay.
One
Fair
time
enough.
he's going to do it, then all of a sudden he's going to turn around and they're going to be there with him. And it's just going to be like, hey, we went to get cigarettes too.
Hey, look,
I'm glad you like cigarettes. Have some Jucifer.
but also the thing, which is a great thing, because obviously Dan's trip over the New Year, even though it was interspersed with tragedy, for the situation that happened in the city whilst him and the family are out there, and our good friend Steve. The thing is that your family came back and they absolutely adored the city, and most notably your wife adored the city, which is obviously why you're going to have the opportunity to come back far more, probably on your own, but also with your family, which is wonderful.
Yeah, she got to spend time with Erik, Max, and Corey. Like, that's it. That's all I needed to do. It was sold. It was just like
Shane.
I bought out Shane as well. She met Ross.
Yeah.
And went to a Saints game. Elite. It's like elite sales pitch. I was like, Tony Stark on the mountain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go through the last couple of questions that we have on the normal list. Right. Your favourite current player on the Saints, Eric, is?
Oh, it's a tough one. I'll probably just stick, I'm going to probably just go with DeMario. I think this guy's embraced the team, embraced the city, and just been nothing but a leader since he stepped in. And, he's I mean, honestly, he might be, outside of the Dome Patrol, might be the best linebacker in Saints history, outside of him, So it's a position that we lacked at for a long time, and he came in, shored it up, and it's been so nice to have. Now, other than him, I'd probably say Taysom is probably there too. Dude's just a battering ram, smokes everybody. Can take over games at will.
It's fun, as we said at the beginning. It's fun watching Taysom.
Yeah, best overall player in the league. At football.
Yeah. And your favourite Saints player of all time, yet again, quite often we say you can't say Drew, but to be honest, it's like, who's your best player? It's like we shouldn't put that obstacle in the way. If somebody loves Drew the way they love Drew, they should be able to say Drew. So, who's your favourite player?
It's probably Reggie. That first.
There's me going like, we're not going to do, we can't do that. I'm in the front. Well done, Eric.
Yeah. And so it goes back to the. I'm sure you guys have seen the clip, but there's a clip that everybody has probably seen. It's when Reggie was first announced as the pick. They were having the draft party on Airline, and the whole place erupted and just started dropping the Reggie chant. And I'll tell you, like, there weren't more hyped moments in the Superdome than when Reggie Bush was back there to take a punt. Everybody was chanting his name the whole time, and then when he would take that punt back, the whole place would just erupt. And it would just be, your ears would be ringing. I do chalk up some of my tinnitus to the Superdome.
I'm sure that every Saints fan of a certain age does.
It does amaze me that Reggie never made a Pro Bowl, even as a special teamer.
Especially his first two seasons, he had a lot of usage from rushing and receiving stats. Especially his rookie year, he caught a ton of balls his rookie year, and he's banged up a lot, and then too, got a lot of hate, because he wasn't that perfect like running back that everybody wanted. But look, we don't win the Super Bowl without him. He was an incredible key to that team. He was very dynamic, and he really revitalized. He revolutionized a huge part of the position, because the way they utilize them is a lot of teams copy.
Yeah, if you don't have Reggie, you don't have Pierre, and if you don't have Pierre, you don't have Alvin. It's like the evolution of what Sean Payton did. They're all different, but they're all led to Alvin, I think.
Yeah. Very last point from us. Obviously, Dan at the beginning on the intro talked about Chocobo. How did that all come about from your perspective, Eric? Because obviously.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go on.
Oh, okay. No, well, so G and Dash and I met through the Saints Block Party podcast. We all like chopping up games and everything like that. And so G had already had the podcast, and he said he was thinking about getting back into it. I was just fucking with him, and I was like, man, he thought, I said, fuck it, let me be on. Just totally fucking with him. Didn't want to be on. And he goes, no, I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to be on. I was like, well, shit, now I feel bad if I tell him I don't want to actually be on. So so Dash and I hopped on with him. We had a little bit of fun, and then we started, figuring out maybe we could do this, full time. And so we started emailing some people, and they agreed to come on, and we've had a lot of fun talking to different people from video games and shit like that. It's been, it keeps the week interesting. It gets you out of some of that, routine you kind of get in, everything kind of get monotonous and everything like that, working a lot. And so it's nice to have something else, to add to the hobby list.
What is, we might spoke about this, what is, in your opinion, is the best American football game you've ever played? And I'm not talking about Madden versus CFL, like, you can say like Madden 06 or Madden 11. Which do you think is the best ever?
Oh, Madden 05 is my favorite. 04 is like consistent. Like, a lot of people love 4, like the consensus kind of leans that. But 05, I just remember, so it had Ray Lewis on the cover, and there was this really awesome feature in the game to where they had like a radio show that would talk about the week's games. And, like it had the franchise mode where you could set prices on concession stand foods and things like that. You could set prices on jersey sales and how it would affect everything. There's tons of details that the new games kind of lack. And then two, like Deuce McAllister was in the game. You could run over fucking anybody with Deuce. It was great. So
before my time, but
Mando 5.
might see if I can find a that must be available on a retro version somewhere, right? On one of these handhelds, you can buy the dodgy ones. It must be available somewhere. Because everyone talks about the Michael Vick version, right? Everyone's like,
that's
year
04, where he was like impossible to stop.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. See, me showing that I didn't get into the game properly until 06.
06 was still
Dan
06
saying
was a good one too.
Dan saying that being from where he's from, saying I'll find a dodgy one, just sort of fits completely your narrative, Mr. Harper.
Listen, it's the only way I can watch.
Dodgy one.
It's the only way I watch Tulane football with my dodgy stick.
Dan, shush.
It's not really dodgy stick. I watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Man,
do you not have YouTube TV? Because that fucking price that you're charging, fuck me.
No, we have
the Zone. We have the Zone, which I don't know. I think is it 140 quid, Dan? Is it about that? It's about that, isn't it?
Fucking better not. Every year I cancel and wait for me a cheaper price.
Well, the price normally is £140, but they do offers for people who have cancelled or new subscribers, which I think Dan takes advantage of. But then
it's cheaper than what you pay. It's a lot cheaper than what you pay.
Yeah. So literally, it would end up being probably about $17 a month. The only problem you get in the UK is that obviously if your game is the main game on what we would call terrestrial sort of TV, which is not, because you have to pay for that as well. It's blacked out on DAZN, so because most British fans prefer the American adverts, studio, all that sort of thing. So that's the only bad, but that hasn't really affected the Saints because we've been so shit for the last 3 years that we're never at the main game on anything. So we can always watch it on DAZN.
No, we just have to sit up at 4 o'clock. We just have to sit up and watch them lose to the fucking Packers 36-0, whatever it was.
Man, we're not going to talk about that again.
If you could ask me how much I watched of that game, it was less than a quarter because I saw them go up 2 scores. I said, nope, not going to ruin my Christmas, son.
Erik, we at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3:45 in the morning, me, Mike, and Charlie Levy were still watching that game together. And he's like, I said, I'm going to bed. I carried on watching it when I got in bed on my iPad, but it's just like, what am I doing in my life? It's 4 o'clock in the morning to watch this team.
Y'all are much better than me. So when I was in Germany for Oktoberfest, it was in 2019, we played the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. And me and my buddy stayed up on his phone, we were watching it like that, laying next to each other in bed like this, huddled up. And we got to like the third quarter, and I was like, man, I'm not watching this shit. I'm going to fucking bed. And that was when they were really good. Like y'all are watching when they're getting blown out. Like y'all are fucking crazy.
Yeah, don't question our fandom. It's I know we weren't there for the worst times, but
y'all are diehards. These are pretty bad times.
I think it's BDFM, if I'm honest. But I'd just like to say, from a personal point of view, there have been plenty of either podcasts or friends who are in podcasts or just, can I just point out that the Chockaboo Chasers t-shirt is the best quality t-shirt that I have ever bought. And I think I told this to G as well. Can I just point out, it is so there you go. But the fucking quality of this t-shirt is immense. I put on a few pounds and it still looks like I'm buff.
Yeah, Yeah, it's a very comfortable
So,
shirt.
yeah.
We need to start selling them. We're trying to figure out a way to cash in on this. All right, I'm trying to quit fucking work.
Yeah.
Just don't put a Fleur de Lis logo on it, because then they won't just cancel your account like they did with us on that account. Who do we buy them off of? And they cancelled our account. The only fuckers who were buying them were me and Mike.
Hey, look, no. Anyway, Dan, have you got anything more you want to talk to Erik about, my friend?
Oh yeah, loads, but not. I don't want to kill his Saturday, so I'll just hold it back to when I see him in person later this year. Although I'm going to speak to him loads between now and then. I need to get online with the gaming. Yeah. What do I need to be playing on PlayStation to hook up with you and G and London and Baggy Dan?
I don't play much PlayStation, so like I hardly ever play with those guys. And really,
you're gonna have to get an Xbox, Dan.
I have to get a PC, and
you got to build a PC and come hang out. And really, like G doesn't play PC games with me, and neither does London. So like you'd be hanging out with my friends who I can warn you ahead of time. They're a lot.
Look, I'm down with the profanity. I can roll with it. I'm good with it. I'll tell them I'm going to do whatever.
I think it's probably a little bit more than profanity, Dan.
Well, I know the lingo, and I'm not going to repeat it for the listeners, but I'm down with it.
I'm just going to tell you, if you think the kiss on the cheek was wild, they're going to say some crazy stuff to you.
I'll double down. I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm letting all the guys know. Dan will suck all of your dicks. Perfect. that's what they're gonna bring up.
Hey, listen. Yeah. I do what I can.
20 quid's 20 quid. You know.
Mouth's a mouth. The Savoy's the Savoy.
Savoy's a Savoy.
Like a comedian bringing it back.
Erik, and listen. Swiftly moving on.
Listen, it's
Daniel.
For me, it's a fucking pleasure every time I get to speak to you. I wish I could speak to you more.
Absolute.
Brother, I absolutely love you. And Michelle, you're the most amazing people. And I'm gushing, but genuinely I mean it. Like you, G, you guys, I fucking love you guys.
Too, man. I'm glad y'all asked me to be on. This has been a great time. I've been
it's been a pleasure having you on, mate.
From Michelle's been like laughing at me randomly at things I've said, or she's like, she's like, she was making fun of me about the ice cream truck comment. She goes, we used to have those all the time.
It reminds me of before we wrap up. Reminds me of the first time I went to the Dome, and this guy behind me, he had a real deep Southern accent, and he went to me, I'm gonna fuck this up, but he went to me, y'all think I'm country? My wife, she eats squirrel, possum, anything she can find on the road. And I was just like, fucking hell. This is the guy. He asked me for drinks. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I don't associate with those people. Like I said, deliverance, you know?
Yeah. It was it. Ryan put up the picture of the road. We've all driven down one of these roads in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Reminds me of True Detective.
That used to be me going home.
Yeah.
I go out with the boys, and I'd be driving home in the evening. It's like, what the fuck? But
Mike, over to you.
I
wrap
appreciate
us up.
y'all having me on. It's been a great time.
I've loved it.
No, we absolutely loved it. And obviously, I was saying earlier, Erik and Dan was reiterating it there. You're an absolute superstar. Any UK Saints fans who are thinking of going over, get in touch with Erik. Not necessarily for him to come out and meet you, but obviously just to enjoy the friendship that you can have with him, because he's so accommodating, so friendly, so generous. From our point of view, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been far, far too long to have not had you on. And anybody out there who's obviously into gaming, go and follow Chocobo Chasers. I'm just going to... What's your Twitter handle again, Erik? Is it that?
It's at Erik Jaybird. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and at Erik Jaybird. Absolute pleasure, Erik. You're an absolute phenomenal individual, as is your good lady, and the best of luck for the arrangements for the wedding. I know it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Perfect.
And yeah, the best to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's been wonderful.
Been great. Mike, did you get that ointment?